think also when I talk to lawyers, I hear that giving advice to clients also have changed, because the clients believe today, if you compare to 3 years ago, the clients believe that they already have the answer when they come to the lawyer. It's like you go to the doctor also, like Niko said, you have already Googled it up and you know in what way you are sick. And lawyers say also that, you have to give advice in another way, because the client is already fully informed. They just want to check out just half an hour or something, not too expensive, to make sure that the advice I already have from the AI is correct. So it's a different way of working also and giving advice and meeting your clients, which you have to learn as a lawyer.
New skills to develop. And from your point of view, and
I think we have to realize that the industry of legal advice has always been divided between qualified lawyers and people giving legal advice. We did a survey in Denmark a few years ago, and about half of the volume of the industry is covered by non-qualified lawyers. And I think this is not going to change. What we have to realize is that providing the service under the title of a qualified lawyer is one of the world's most well-known brands. Like anybody being arrested with no prior knowledge to the law, even no prior knowledge to the country, the first thing they ask for is, I want to see a lawyer. They don't say, I want to know the law. They say, I want to see a lawyer, because the lawyer looks out for your best interests. And I think that's what you have to realize, that all the regulation in place is to make sure that lawyers always look out for the client's best interests. And sometimes that is also asking the awkward question, because a lot of Danish lawyers tells me that when people come into the law firm, they've been on some sort of AI web page, and they feel they have a pretty good grasp of the case, but it often turns out that they've only prompted the questions which were positive to their side of the case, because they hadn't really challenged themselves. And therefore the role of the lawyer is to really explain what is the basis for the case, and do you have a case or don't you have a case. And that's, I think, where the regulation and the value of lawyering comes into picture.
I could see very short, because we have 2 more questions.
Yes, could I just add one more thing that lawyers always think that they're really good at, and that is, to follow up on you, when a client comes in, I think a lawyer is really good at very quickly asking the right questions, getting a sort of overview of the case, being able to work on the case like within very few minutes. And I think that's really something lawyers should remember and be even better at all the time.
Let's go to the next question, and that is, how central are professional ethics and client confidentiality to the legitimacy and the competitiveness of the legal profession in a digital environment? So this is very much related to what we're already saying. Niko, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, for example, regarding AML, all the bank transactions are followed, and in Finland there is dedicated legislation which says that all money that goes to client account of an attorney are not followed. So confidentiality is actually a very crucial thing, and it goes beyond all the digital transactions and data sets and all those. I would say when we are speaking about the legal technology and legal technology service providers, they are taking into account this very important thing when they are developing their products. When they are providing those to lawyers, they know that they have to keep things in secret. And that is one crucial thing when lawyers are selecting their services. They are first asking that, are our data safe? And confidence is more important than ever.
Yeah. And Mia, would you like to comment on that?
No, I agree. But also it should be, not all clients are fully informed and aware of differences. So that's a challenge we have, I think, as bar associations, also to inform clients about the differences. It's easy for us to talk about this because we know it, but not everyone seeking legal advice knows differences between a qualified bar member and another lawyer, and which one has to follow the ethical rules.
Do you share that? Do you communicate with the clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's confidentiality is really crucial, and there are new questions I think coming up that's in a way maybe a little bit uncomfortable. I just heard a podcast with a security person in a big Danish law firm who said that the lawyers have to think about if US software is still safe to use for law firms. And that's, of course, I mean, the Norwegian Bar Association, we use Microsoft. The Norwegian courts use Copilot. And we have already seen that Microsoft has delivered encrypting, the encrypting key, I don't know the English word, to the US government. So information that company thought was totally safe with Microsoft was not. And is it the same in Europe? I think Microsoft has moved most of its hard disk for European customers to Europe. And of course, and as this security advisor said, that we cannot change hardware and software immediately, all of us, but we have to think about it when we buy new hardware and software and ask, how is this safe? How is our confidential information treated?
Mm-hmm. And what is your experience in Denmark? Are you also confronting these same issues? And are you actively working on the professional ethics and client confidentiality?
I think, just to go back a few years, I think the first time I ever attended Tech Tour was in Copenhagen about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was posed the question, but you don't have time for regulation because within 1 or 2 years from now, there won't be any lawyers left. When you can just look out into the world, there are plenty of lawyers. So first of all, I think we have to sort of make sure that we don't move too fast. We regulate and make guidelines when we know what we have to guide about. And at the moment in the Danish bar, we are looking at a sort of 360 sort of oversight of legal legislation towards lawyers to see where do we need to come up with some legislation to provide lawyers with the tools. But one thing I think we need to realize is it's not going faster than we can still maintain a certain level of sort of oversight as towards where you want to go. We've now obviously been aware that the security issues of software is actually one of the issues you have to be quite aware of as a lawyer. So I think we need to do the qualification of the guidelines over the next years to see how we want to work with the information provided by AI tools.
And that takes us into the last question, and we can perhaps discuss this more. Has the Bar Association that you represent published guidelines regarding lawyers' use of AI? And we know Finland has, and we know Sweden. We're about to hear about Denmark and Norway. And if so, if you can briefly describe the focus of those guidelines. And in light of your discussion, I might ask, is it necessary to be updating those as technology is rapidly changing? Go ahead.
Well, I could jump in and say we haven't sort of proposed guidelines yet. We're working on them, but the disciplinary board has come up with its first ruling on a case where a lawyer used AI to come up with a number of court cases in a document for the court, and turned out that the actual court cases were fictive cases, and the disciplinary board concluded that the amount of cases he had used and the, you could say, completely fictiveness of the cases indicated that he had been using AI, and therefore he got sanctioned for that. So you could say, even though we're moving into a new world technology, the good old rules still apply, that the lawyer has to know what they're putting into their writing, because it's their responsibility that is right.
So you go back to the core compass of the values. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that's very important. We quite often get that question. So who has responsibility if AI gives a wrong answer and the lawyer uses it and when they give they give their advice? But of course, I mean, the lawyer is responsible no matter what kind of technology a lawyer uses. So if the AI hallucinate, it's the lawyer's responsibility if they don't check those cases. And in Norway, we already had the Supreme Court came to the bar recently saying that we had a brief to the Supreme Court with lots of hallucinated case law. And they asked us, so what are you going to do about this to avoid this in the future?
I think we've seen that in all countries. We've seen it in Sweden also with hallucinated cases. Not only the recent verdict was not only hallucinated cases, but also hallucinated law, invented new laws. And that's, I mean, on a new level, actually. It wasn't a bar member, though, we had at the Bar Association to deal with that papers were writing also when it comes to not knowing the differences between bar members and not bar members. So we had to answer a lot of newspapers that this was not a bar member, it was a lawyer. Not in
Norway, it was a bar member.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But we also had our first case where a client complained on the lawyer because the lawyer had given the advice that you should not take this case to court because I really think there's a big chance you might lose the case. But then the client said he checked with AI, and AI said that he absolutely would win. So then he complained to the disciplinary system that, you know, the
lawyer is not giving the same advice as the AI.
Yeah.
New version. Do you your experience, have you had put your rules into effect, your AI guidance?
One important thing is to help to adapt and evaluate, for example, AI technology, and we have given some instructions on how to evaluate and how to select, instead of saying that this product is meant for all or that you should use. But we have noticed also that we are having similar type of issues, especially when you have not experience, especially small law firms, private practitioners are having huge burden on adapting technology, and we have tried to help them to figure it out, and we have provided some trainings and support on this matter.
Yeah, and we have, I think, a few minutes left. We're going to have a whistle when it comes up. So within this topic that we're discussing, is there something that stands out, Mia, that you think should be emphasized? Is a good take-home from this session?
No, but what I think is important right now is that lawyers need to educate and try legal tech and AI. That's the only way of learning how to use it in the best way. So you have to be curious as a lawyer and trying in a safe space, so to say, also. Of course, you cannot do whatever you want if you're not in a guarded area, so to say. But I mean, I'm very optimistic about the ways that we can use AI in the work as a legal advisor in very positive ways for the clients. But we need to try. You know, people say that you often have your AI moment. I don't know how many of you in here have had an AI moment. Hand up. Oh, too few, I would say. I had my AI moment 2 months ago, maybe, and that's late, I thought. But you know, when you really realize that, oh my God, this is something new I can use in such a creative and good way that brings, you know, value to my work. That's really fantastic. But you won't have your AI moment if you don't try it out. So that's what I recommend. In a safe way, try it out and try, if you have the possibility, try different AI tools, because not everything is for everyone. So you have to find the right tool for your legal work.
How many of you would actually use AI medical advice? So if it said that you could treat this by doing X and not just put a Band-Aid on, would you just do it without getting more advice? How many of you would say, yes, I would follow an AI medical advice?
Medical,
yes.
Yeah. So how many of you would follow AI legal advice on something?
No one dares to say yes.
Merete, if you would like to say your take home from our session this morning or this afternoon.
No, I agree. Go out and start using AI today if you haven't already done it. I know in Norway, the Norwegian Bar, we have deals AI agreements with several AI companies that can be used for big law firms and small law firms. I know that Sweden has the same.
True, yeah.
And you really just do it, and hopefully you'll get your AI moments. Not too
Maybe do it, but review it.
Yes.
Do it and review it, yeah. And I mean, some companies offer also you can try for free for 1 week, for example. That's perfect, take a week and try it in
Maybe you have a teenage kid around to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, I think, to follow up, I think it's very important that lawyers stay curious, that we don't come up with so many excuses not to do it, because lawyers are always good at coming up with all the things which could go wrong. That you also have to take, like if you have a young associate working for you, you don't sit in on all phone calls they do, and you don't read all emails, because you have like a trust that they do the job properly. But of course you have some things where you have oversight because it's important. So I think we need to have a sort of approach to this, that we also have to take it in and work with it, and then slowly there will come guidelines, and of course there will be some lawyers who do it wrongly, and they will be probably disciplined, but we will need to do that in order to make the whole industry move forward in AI.
Mm-hmm. Niko?
Do not doubt your own competence. Use technology to enhance your own capabilities. So you have to trust on technology, but you have to be aware that there is still place for humanity. Thank you.
A quick question before we end, because we're going to end very soon. So yes or no, do you think that the Bar Association should or has an obligation or could be actively educating its lawyers to use AI responsibly and ethically? Should you be actively not just making guidelines, but having education programs? Yes or no?
Yes, if we have the competence, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we already educate lawyers in many other aspects, so it would be a natural thing also to educate them in AI.
Yes, of course.
And a way of doing that also is arranging a thing like this. I know they have done it, you have done it in Norway and Denmark also, but this is a way of education, of course, that we also help with and organize to be able,
And discuss it actively.
Exactly, yeah.
And do you feel a bit like you're maybe chasing a fast-moving rocket?
I don't know. Yeah, things are happening very fast, so that's why we have to keep track. But it's exciting also at the same time. I think, at least.
Maybe that's just one point I think is very important. That it's moving fast, but we always, when there's a talk on AI, we always seem to be at that very moment where AI overtakes human intelligence, and we can just as well give up, and there'll be no lawyers, and we don't have any jobs. And it's been the same point of view for the last 3 or 4 years. So obviously we somehow cope by taking all the new technologies, working with them, but we still have lawyers. 14 years ago, it was the Watson computer which was entering the market, and the predictions were that there would be no doctors within a few years because it would be better doctoring than doctors. But we still have doctors, so I'm not so gloomy in the way of the legal industry. I just think we really have to take in all the new tools and learn to work with them.
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic. I mean, I think many lawyers have quite advanced in using legal technology and AI, and I think parts of the industry sort of have a tendency to keep saying that lawyers are so slow in adapting, and the lawyers are not catching up on the legal industry and use of AI. But I think they're doing that to sort of, put themselves forward and putting the lawyers down. But I think it's, I'm very impressed with what many of the law firms already had done on AI and how they work on it. So I think it's, as follow up on you said, Susskind said 20 years ago that in 20 years there will be no lawyers, and at least we are more lawyers than ever in the Nordic countries, I think. So obviously you lawyers are quite good at adapting and changing with the changing world.
I would like to add also, it's not an age thing. I think, actually. It's easy sometimes to think that the younger, they are so good at this and they know exactly what to do, and if you're a bit older, you don't. That's not true. I think it has to do with something else, personality, curiosity, way of so it's not It doesn't have to do with age, I think. Yeah.
Stay curious.
Yeah.
So I think now we've come to the point that we should thank the 4 Secretary Generals who are all very busy but have taken time out to come and share their insights on this important topic with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.